Special thanks to Acorns for sponsoring this video. Today we're talking about Tesla's new holiday software update. It's something that Elon has hyped up for a while and owners were very excited about it. It brings out one really cool new feature called Boombox, which we'll get into and I'll demonstrate in a second. But at the same time, this software update changes some core things about the way the car works and your main interface when you're driving. And for me, it actually seems to be worse. So let's get into it. Now, one of the best parts about owning a Tesla is that it works like a smartphone to a certain degree. You get regular software updates that bring out a bunch of new features. I've detailed this in other videos breaking down everything that has gotten better on my car, including the most recent one that I was very pleased about, which was massive improvements to Spotify. So it's very possible, and very likely actually, that you will buy your car and then within a year or two, you'll get some great new features that are actually going to greatly enhance your experience driving the car and listening to music in the car or playing games while you're charging and all sorts of things like that. But this is the first time that I've seen Tesla come out with an update that most people aren't very thrilled about. A lot of people are happy about these new features, but overall the feedback on the interface design is not great, so let's take a look. So I'm here in a 2020 Tesla Model Y. Now what's interesting about this update is it's the first time it's really utilizing this external speaker on Teslas that they started including back, I think, a year or two ago in the Model 3. And it now has become a legal requirement. But for whatever reason, for the first few months of making the 2020 Model Y, they just left that speaker off. So I actually don't have the biggest feature of this software update called Boombox. But don't leave, because I'm gonna go check out a Model 3 with this feature because I gotta see what this feature is like. So stay tuned because that's gonna be part of this video. First off, you'll notice that this is all different. This has increased in size. It used to be a little bit smaller, and this whole visualization is different. If I open up the trunk there, you know, it actually gives me kind of a live visualization, which sure, that's kind of cool, I guess. And then they moved a couple things. They moved the rear camera right here at the bottom, which is actually pretty nice that it's accessible there. Before it was up here next to the cards, and so it was a little less accessible, I suppose. But it does kind of crowd this up, in my opinion, a little bit. And now instead of going right here for the temperature controls, it's just a little bit further to the right, which I can see actually being a little bit annoying because I'm so used to driving and then poking right where I need to poke to adjust my temperature. And now it's going to be like an inch to the right, which might not sound like a lot, but you're trying to keep your eyes on the road and then adjust your temperature on a screen, and you get used to a certain feel about it. It's just like if they changed the keyboard on an iPhone, all of a sudden you would be used to your thumbs tapping a certain place. But they also moved windshield wipers down here, which also I suppose is a little bit nicer than having it up here. But if we go into the release notes here, you notice that first off, the release notes have a different interface. That's actually part of the update in the release notes, is that they updated the release notes page. And it's definitely nicer. It gives you a breakdown of everything as opposed to just a list. All right, so this is a Model 3 which has the actual external speaker. So it should be able to do this whole Boombox feature. For now, I'm just going to try it out in a parking lot, see how it sounds and how it is on the interface, and then we're going to go and drive it around and see how it is driving by people and playing funny sounds, I guess. So I believe it is in Toybox. There it is, Boombox. So right now I'm playing the onboard radio, and then supposedly I can go to Toybox and just play current media outside. Yeah, that's pretty funny. So you can just play your music outside. Right now it's playing some Dua Lipa just from the outside of my car. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Just play whatever you're currently listening to. And now you can do sounds where you replace the horn. You can change your driving sound, change your summon sound. So let's give that a go. So I can have the horn sound also play a fart, or I can have it replace the horn sound. Let's see if that works. Just a fart. All right, so I have a camera set up outside. So the audio you will be hearing from these sound effects is from the camera outside. And let's give it a go. So for the horn, I can choose all these things, and I have him replacing the horn right now. So when I hit the horn, it's not gonna make the horn sound. It's literally gonna make a fart. Ready? And now Posh.
Well, I never.
Goat. So these are pretty absurd that it has this as the replacement for your horn. Like, that's going to happen on a freeway. You just instinctively go to hit your horn, and it plays a fart noise instead, which honestly sometimes could be not safe, but sometimes could be really fun. One thing I did just notice is that you can't actually replace the horn when you're driving, so that's good. It will still play the horn and a fart. So that's good for safety. Real quick, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Acorns. Acorns is the easiest way to save and invest money. In less than 5 minutes, you can sign up to invest your spare change, spend smarter, earn more, and grow your knowledge all within the app. For most people, including myself, investing is a vital part of long-term savings goals, and Acorns makes this incredibly simple to do. They're a very popular investing app and have helped over 8 million people save and invest in the background of their life. You can easily set up daily, weekly, or monthly recurring contributions, or have Acorns automatically invest your spare change by rounding up everyday purchases like coffee, charging, food, and more. There's no expertise required, and you can just set it and forget it, and Acorns puts your money into diversified portfolios designed to maximize growth by their professionals. Additionally, if you have kids, you can start investing for them as well using Acorns early. Click the link in the description below or visit acorns.com/RyanShaw to claim your $5 bonus when signing up. It takes less than 3 minutes to set up, so check it out. So now let's check out the sounds for when I'm actually driving, and that is when you're going at low speeds and it's legally required that it plays a sound. Right now it's kind of this weird like alien sound, and I'll show you what that sounds like, and then I'll walk through the included ones that you can do instead now. So right now I don't have anything selected, and this is the sound the car makes when it's driving slowly. And then we can just go ahead and change that here. So I'm going to start out with coconuts. Some of the ridiculous ones are, for example, harp. Let's do rock and roll. Why not? Then interestingly enough, you can choose to play current media as your driving sound. So whatever I'm listening to here, it'll just play that through the external speaker. So according to Tesla, you can add up to 5 custom sounds. Now I tried to do this, I plugged in a USB port, I followed all the directions that it says, which is just to make a directory called Boombox, put your files in there and it will recognize it. But every time I checked, I just couldn't get it to work. So what I actually ended up doing was kind of a workaround, which is that I know that it'll just play my current media. So I plugged this in and I know that Teslas can recognize USB drives as music devices. So I put in a couple sound effects of a kid making a funny car noise and also a car revving an engine, which is totally not the thing for Tesla and might actually make some people mad. And then I just played those on the media player and had them on repeat, and then I had the Boombox feature match what my current audio was playing, and it seemed to work. It's kind of a workaround, and I'm not sure if I did it wrong in the first place or if Tesla hasn't actually added the custom option, but this workaround did work and I was able to play these custom sounds through the Boombox, and it was pretty hilarious. And special shout out to Sergio Hernandez for letting me check out his Model 3 and the Boombox feature. You can check out his channel linked below or check out one of his videos linked up here. And now let's talk about driving visualization improvements. It says that it has now been refreshed to offer a larger visualization to allow drivers to view more details of the road surroundings. The next turn will now appear above the visualization if the navigation turn list is covered by another app. But here's the thing, visualization improvements. I think that's highly debatable. Most people think that's debatable because in my opinion, this has gotten so much worse with this update. So first of all, this is where all your lights and stuff have been, and now your gear selector is vertical over here. None of that really bothers me. But then, as soon as we start driving, you'll notice the speedometer is up here to the left. I guess it's closer. It's closer to the middle or whatever, it's closer to the steering wheel, but actually my hand ends up going right in front of it a lot more frequently, and it just looks terrible. Like, what is this positioning here? What's weird here is it looks like it's keeping the spacing of the old visualizations because this is here instead of over here. I don't really understand why. It just seems like they're not following any kind of spacing rules and everything's just kind of popping up. In my opinion, it looks way worse. Let's go onto a road with some speed. It's honestly kind of confusing what all these 3 different speeds are and that they're all so close together. And that's my autopilot icon now, and those are my lights, and random things are popping up down here, and then there's all this dead space here. So now I'm in autopilot, and we can see that this is what this is designed for. This is designed for you to be in autopilot or full self-driving. And this looks good, you know? It has my speed there, everything's lit up blue. This is nice and big, it's really focused on what's going on around me. And then we have this 40-mile-an-hour thing here. And that's really what this is for. Otherwise, when you're just driving for yourself, Another feature they mentioned that sounds very good is that when the right side of the screen is taken up and being used by music or something else, your directions will pop up on the visualization side. This is great because if you have a turn coming up, you might not be aware of it because you might be fiddling with your music and stuff, but the way it's implemented, again, just feels like they quickly threw this together and didn't really look at it. Sometimes it looks great having that direction right there and it looks pretty useful, but a lot of the time there are a lot of visualizations going on and there's just too much going on screen and your direction is transparent. Kind of looks like they just threw it on top of there and just hoped for the best.
And then they added 3 different games. The first is the Battle of Polytopia, then Cat Quest, and then Solitaire. So let's go check those out real quick. We can see the Battle of Polytopia. I can go ahead and play right there. So what's nice is they added a few features here. For one, this is playing on the side card. It's not actually taking up my entire screen automatically, which is what games typically do. You can actually play this one online with a Tesla game profile, but I'm just going to play it offline and go to play game here. And again, I'm going to go to full screen. So now the game is here. New game, I can do everything. It seems to run pretty well once we're in here. I did have that little crashing issue, which is interesting. But you can shrink it down and it's your side card there. And what's actually kind of different is that these games you can actually play technically while driving. That's not what you're supposed to do, and they're clear that you're not supposed to do it, but a passenger can play it. So right now I have this game open, and then I'm going to go into reverse. And notice my rear camera covered that up. But as soon as I start driving, the game is still there, and all I have to do is click I am a passenger, and now I can play this game while driving. So do not do that. That is not what you're supposed to do. You're clearly clicking that you are a passenger. Do not play games while you're driving, but technically you can do it, like physically it's possible. So I showed you that you can go full screen and out, but you can also minimize the game, which is a new feature that you definitely couldn't do before. Before it was you were in the game and it takes up your full screen and you can literally not do anything else besides, I think, adjust the volume and the temperature of your car. Now you can actually be playing the game and I can move around and maybe get some stuff done here. And then I can minimize and check my route and maybe see like, oh, this is where I'm going to be headed. Let me calculate that. And then let me go back to my game. So that is definitely very nice and improved over the previous games, which actually haven't changed. An older game like Fallout Shelter launches completely the old way. So it takes up my full screen. I can adjust brightness, I can adjust temperature, and I can adjust volume, but I can't do anything else until I completely close the app. So I would like to see those old games updated with that new way where you can actually minimize it. There's also Solitaire here. So we can see they all load up pretty quickly, those new games, and you can go to full screen again, and you can also minimize. So that's pretty nice. And then the third game is Cat Quest, which actually requires a compatible controller. So I imagine that a lot of owners are not going to even play this game because it requires that controller. But it's really easy. You just plug in a USB controller, like an Xbox, PS4 controller, whatever you want, and you plug it in via USB into the front console, and you're good to go.
Two other small things for this update. Tesla improved the way you can schedule your charging, where you can actually schedule departure time based on your charging peak times. And then they added a more handy interface for checking superchargers, where it actually shows right on the icon for the location of the supercharger exactly how many superchargers are available at that time. Before you had to click into there, so if you were comparing a bunch of different superchargers and how full they were, it was a little annoying, and now all you have to do is just see them all right there and how many are available. When Elon had hyped this up, he put 2 fire emojis, and he responded to a tweet talking about it and acknowledging the fact that more is to come and that this really wasn't that great. His tweet said, quote, "It's 1 fire emoji or a half fire emoji if you don't have a car with pedestrian speaker." And that is the case that I am in, and a lot of owners are in, where we don't have a speaker, so we don't get this Boombox upgrade, and the rest of the update seems pretty minimal or kind of lacking. He followed up saying, quote, "We couldn't get everything done in time, but more stuff coming." And per usual, Tesla owners are on Twitter actively asking if they're going to offer a retrofit for this, because if you bought an older car, you don't have this feature, and Tesla has done that in the past. He responded and said, quote, "Okay, service might be able to do this, we'll check." So there's a possibility that in the future I could have an option to upgrade my speaker, I'm guessing anywhere from $100 to $300, but I imagine them not going through with this because this is just a fun little Easter egg type feature. It's in the toy box, and I'm imagining they don't want to clog up service centers with people who just want to make their car fart. So this definitely isn't version 11, and this definitely is missing a ton of the features that we had speculated about before that seem to be coming soon, and Elon even confirmed them that they will be coming soon, but they definitely didn't arrive in this update. So we still hopefully definitely have a lot to look forward to, and I'm really hoping that they change up this driver interface, because I've driven the car for over 9 months and I've gotten used to what it was, and I liked that. And if they changed it and my eyes had to adjust to new placement and it was better, I wouldn't mind. But now it's worse. It's not better than it was before. The placements don't really make sense. They seem like they're floating in the middle of space, and a lot of things just overlap with one another. It kind of feels like an error. My wife's first reaction when I showed her a screenshot of what our interface looks like, she said, "That looks like an error." And she's totally convinced that Tesla will be pushing out a software update to fix this because it's just an accident. So some things we're still expecting to hear about is the overhead bird's eye view. Elon said that that would be coming and probably part of the full self-driving package, but we haven't heard for sure. And it's definitely something they could do with all the cameras around the car. It's just a software thing that needs to be done. But that obviously didn't happen on this update. We were also expecting to hear about the side cameras coming up when you initiate the blinker. Like if you go to turn left, you signal left and it pops up that camera to be an extra layer of safety to show you that no one is truly there on top of your mirrors and such. We were also expecting a feature where we could just enlarge those side cameras when we're backing up or anything. And then the big one I'm sure most people are disappointed about is waypoints. Right now you can only navigate to one place on your car. You can't choose a coffee shop and then your final destination. And they were supposed to be adding that, and we even got some leaked screenshots of it. So it should be coming in the future, but definitely didn't come in this holiday update. But what are your thoughts about this updated interface? Do you like it or do you hate it? What do you like about it? Leave a comment below and let me know. In the meantime, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure to like this video if you appreciated it. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanShawTech. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.